welcome to episode 15, where I get very gooey-eyed over the Focus.
I discover the complex engineering of a Land Rover's air conditioning.
And I have a look at the golden age of rallying. First up, we would have the... I think we should see you getting all gooey-eyed.
I think we better see me going up getting gooey-eyed, and as you know, with being a Ford man, I was bound to get gooey-eyed.
It's a bit of a trip down memory lane for you, this one.
A bit of a trip down motor memory lane, as I was presented, and I thought this one would bring my car back, with a 1.6 Zetec Focus of a long time ago, and what memories it did bring back. So we'll take a look at that and just see how I felt when I saw it.
Welcome, and we are in a Mark 1 Ford Focus. It's a really interesting car to do. This is not my car personally, but it is a family vehicle, which we've very kindly been lent to film this today. What are your thoughts, Martin?
Let's remember that this took over from the Escort, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
This is the first new, all name change, design and everything. This was all brand new before this, and a lot of people didn't, let's say, warm to it straight away.
Well, it's an interesting point, because when the Focus came out, of course, Ford actually carried on selling the Escort for another couple of years.
They did as a bit of a softener, didn't they?
A bit, yeah, you know, because obviously when it came out, I was talking, well, 21 years ago coming up to now, yeah. It was part of Ford's new edge design, as they called it.
This was a radical design,
it was, yeah.
Both exterior and interior.
New edge design is a new way of thinking for Ford, and we are flowing the concept into most of our new models over the next few years. If you take the cues from Car and from Puma, we flowed these cues into Cougar and extended it a little bit further.
You've got all the nice curves and sharp edges.
Yeah.
Everything's completely different from what you'd expect with Ford at the time.
The Focus, of course, was Ford's new edge programme. The first one, of course, being the original KA.
Yeah.
Like you say, compared to the Escort that went before, it is radically different. I mean...
Well, the thing is, also, I never owned an Escort. I was one of the first in the family then to get this as a car, for the Focus of this time. But this Zetec one is just a little bit step up, isn't it?
Well, yeah, the Zetec, it's a bit confusing really, because they all actually had Zetec engines.
Well, they did.
But yeah. Zetec was also a trim level in itself, and it was meant to be sort of mildly sporting, hence on this car you've got the nice alloy wheels, you've got the front fog lights and that kind of thing.
Just some little extras into it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. As we're in the interior, looking at the dash, I mean, it was miles different to the Escort, wasn't it? It was really light years ahead.
It was leaps and bounds.
Even now, sort of 20 years later, it's still kind of, in a way...
Do you know, I'll say it's very...
modern?
I'd say sort of retro, but still futuristic.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
I like how all these angles, everything all follows. And this is a thing that some brand new cars continue with the theme now, where it follows into the door line and things. We have the stereo, obviously, which I love, the flip-off panel, which I had with my Puma and also my Fiesta Zetec S.
And obviously you've got a lot of nice features. You've got your air conditioning, your heated rear window, and your heated windscreen, which actually still works, I'm reliably informed.
Yes,
so that's pretty good.
One thing as well, with these, but everything was solid rubber. They had this fixation with solid rubber buttons in there. I know there is a lot of like black pieces on it, but I do like the fact that it complements them with this brushed
aluminium
effect in the centre.
Yeah, I think it brings up what would otherwise be quite not a dull interior, but a dull colour for the dashboard.
Yeah.
It just brightens it up.
One thing I did like about the Focus, I really liked how they placed all the venting system in this.
Yeah.
I really loved these sort of vents where you could really swivel them as well as this sideways and that. They had a really good touch to them. One thing I've noticed, and it's only just been spotted now, and the button for adjusting the mirrors on the EcoSport, and let's not forget that was a 17-plate car, was the button that I can see right there on this 2002.
2004,
yeah. Oh, sorry, 2004 Focus.
Yeah.
I always noticed there was a lot of legroom and plenty of space in this car.
Yeah. Oh, it certainly feels very comfortable. I've been in the back as well, and it's certainly really very comfortable. Ford got it absolutely bang on with this car, I think it's fair to say. Everything
was all well designed and well shaped out for this start of what is, as we still know, the Focus today.
Yeah.
But it was the benchmark, wasn't it? It was where we were all beginning from with this car here.
Yeah. I mean, it's an impressive car. I mean, obviously, this is not a modern, expensive vehicle, but
it's not.
You got to basically put yourself back at the time it was new. And when you think back to the time when it was new, it was bang up to date. If you compared this car at the time against a Vauxhall Astra or one of its rivals like that, there's no doubting the Focus was light years ahead in the way its design, wasn't it?
I think they even got the name right, Focus.
And that's not me being unfair to the Astra, because I had a Mark IV Astra and I did like the car.
I've had Vauxhalls of myself, Astras as well.
I've had a lot.
I will agree there. There were simple things like your boot release button.
Very handy and good point this, because I had this on a Fiesta.
Yeah.
The boot release for this car, for the inside, is actually just on the dash there. Very, very handy to have that there. You did have to fumble around in the back with the key.
I remember on the key fob you also had a button which you could press which actually opened the boot as well.
Yeah, you do, yeah. I suppose the reason for that is that on the back of this car there's no button to press to open the boot.
Well, there isn't, no.
So you just lift it up.
Yeah.
I imagine that's why they've got that there, but it was a very handy feature.
But I thought it was a good feature. I noticed when it pulled up earlier on, just before we started filming, and I was surprised how now it doesn't look a fairly big car.
No.
But when you're inside it, it feels such a very spacious, roomy car.
Yeah.
A bit like a TARDIS sort of car, and I'd forgotten how roomy it actually was inside. Even the nature of the shape of the car, you don't lose no headroom.
To feel nice and compact on the outside, but nice and roomy on the inside.
Yeah.
There's not as many cars as you think, believe it or not, that can actually pull that off.
Not now, no.
And it is nice, and it's not like it's completely devoid of safety features either.
No, I mean we've got even passenger airbag in this one.
We've got drives airbag, passenger airbag. We've actually got side ones in this car as well.
Yes, I remember mine having side
The Revon put them in them by 2004. I don't think it was. I think it was only optional when the car was launched. That type of thing. Obviously, you can have ones that are much higher spec than this. You can have ones with full leather, heated seats, sunroofs, that kind of thing.
I think even one actually came with wooden trim.
Yeah, that was the gear. I think I remember some gear ones having like a wood effect trim, where with it's aluminium on this car, and also like a cream interior.
That's it. But we're also going on to the lines of we had them that was the like saloon version, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Which
the saloon one.
See many of now.
No, I mean the Focus, of course, you got a 3 or 5 door hatchback like this one is. Then you had the Estate, and Ford also offered the Mark 1 as a saloon as well, which in the UK at least, shall we say, didn't exactly set the sales charts on fire.
No, these were the sellers, weren't they?
They were, yeah.
You saw a lot of Estates.
Yeah.
Estates were really good, to be fair. You got the same room, but more space in the back.
There was loads of space in the back of the Estate.
They were really good Estates.
Yeah.
And as so with the new Focus now, just before this new Mark's come out, you see the Estate versions of the ST.
Yeah.
So an Estate version of these sort of cars is still a good feature.
It is.
With this car, we had a 1.6 engine, didn't we?
This is a 1.6 engine, yeah.
Yeah.
The diesel versions back when this car was new weren't, say, as refined as they are these days.
No, you were still on the borderline of some diesels were poor, some were just getting there, sort of thing, weren't you? So
you only bought a diesel then, I think, probably if you really needed a diesel for the mileage.
I think if there was anyone looking for one of these now as a good, basic, cheap runaround, I'd sort of go for this spec.
Exactly, yeah.
I think this is
certainly going to be the easiest to find.
Yeah.
Before I absolutely freeze to death, let's have a look at this exterior.
Let's have a look. Well, as I said, it was the same with the inside as the outside. This was a cutting edge design then. It was. Everything as you saw this was completely away from what everyone knew as the Escort box. The only thing that you'd find on this, what were on an Escort, is the Ford badge. Yeah. And that's how literally it was a change, wasn't it?
It was. Obviously this is 1.6 E-Tech, so it's a fairly sort of run-of-the-mill model, isn't it? Even all these years later, it still looks like an old design.
Well, it is.
It's dated too badly, hasn't it?
It's aged nicely. It really has, as this design. Everything you see about it was cutting edge at the time, wasn't it?
It is a nice design. Everything is the way expected to be, but we've done it in an interesting way.
I liked mine. It was a nice drive.
Yeah. This is what they call sort of a clear glass light.
It is,
you can see all the insides of the.
Well, as you notice, a lot of modern cars are now all done this way, aren't they?
This is commonplace now, but it wasn't 20 years ago.
No. I love these rear clusters as well for the lights.
Again, this was a popular thing at the time.
I liked how they were up here.
Yeah, where cars moved from having lights down at the bottom there, up to the top.
Yeah. We all know one thing that this car were really good for, was its handling, wasn't it?
Well, yes, moving on to that, I mean...
Well, this is the thing. For all I owned one and drove one like mad, I never knew what the little trick was to its handling.
So this car, and every Mark 1 Focus, add a little party piece, and that party piece, because it's independent, is suspension. Now, Ford dropped this for the Mark II, and the reason they dropped this was down to cost.
Yeah.
It was more expensive to make and more complicated. But the party piece, like I say, this car had an exemplary ride for the time, and the handling, well, it handled better than any sort of small family car ever had a right to do, really, didn't it?
It did. I always found its handling were silky smooth, actually, for a car like this. It really was.
And I remember at the time, even sort of when this car was made, sort of right at the end of the production run for the Mark I, even compared to its new arrivals at the time, cars that since this had, it still outshone them in the ride.
It did. It did. I can't fault how they used to handle these Focuses.
Well, Martin, that was the Mark I Focus.
Yes, a car that when I saw appearing, it looked like someone bringing my car back. It's just exactly the same.
Pretty much an exact replica of your old one, isn't it?
It's brought back some memories, seeing this.
They're really impressive cars.
They are.
You can see why they're so popular.
It's the car that really, it didn't just step up from the Escort, it leaped, because it completely changed.
You do realise sometimes when manufacturers change, update a car, sometimes it feels like a very small update, sometimes it feels like updated at all.
No.
But like you said, when this replaced the Escort, sort of in 1998, it was a massive
It
leap
really
forward.
broke a mould for Ford, did this car. It has, I will stress, it has brought some very strange memories back, because it seems such a long time since I owned mine.
And the thing is as well, on OverDrive, of course, we do love doing cheap cars like this, don't we?
We do.
This is going to sound ridiculous. We do like doing the nice stuff, of course, but we do like doing really cheap cars.
We like doing any, but it's good now and again to see an old favourite like these.
Yeah.
It really is.
We hope you enjoy the video. We certainly enjoyed making it, even though it has been very cold.
I can't wait till summer.
But today from us, I'm afraid that's it, and we'll see you in the next feature.
That's a wrap, and I hope Malcolm, if you pardon the pun, got all that in focus.
Bye. Right, well, that was the Focus feature. I think you enjoyed that very much, Martin.
I enjoyed the day we filmed that, that's all right.
That brought back some memories.
It certainly did. I thought about bringing my car back about the edge.
It was blinking cold, I remember that.
It was very cold.
But moving on, and for you off-road enthusiasts out there, we've got something very special for you now. Some say it's the best 4x4 in the world. I'm inclined to agree, to be fair. We have a Land Rover Defender, a very nice one too. Let's take a look. Ladies and gentlemen, well, you join us in a rather interesting car and different car for OverDrive, one that we spotted a few weeks ago and made a decision on then that we had to film pretty much. It's pretty unique. What were you, Martin?
We're in a Land Rover Defender. Not a brand new one, but still quite a tasty one for its age. It's an 05 plate, this one, isn't it, Craig?
It is an 05, although I won't say it was totally original. It's had a few modifications from what we can tell, certainly. We'll kick off with the interior. The seats have been retrimmed in this lovely leather. It's black leather with this...
It's like a tan, isn't it? I really like this, actually. It's a nice stitching to it, what's got on the inserts.
Very, very detailed, really, really nice, and feels high quality as well. Looks like we've got some updated gear knobs here as well. The centre console has also been redone in the tan colour.
Yeah, matching, and it really breaks it, doesn't it, and sets it off well.
Of course, the ashtray on top as well. Steering wheel's different as well. We've got this lovely black leather sports steering wheel, which really does.
It's a Momo steering wheel, isn't it?
It does feel really nice to hold.
It looks very tiny from where I'm sat, but I think it'd be better to drive with that, actually, wouldn't it?
Certainly not a sort of thing you expect to see in a Defender, that's for sure. But
no.
Really nice. But generally speaking, obviously with a Defender, the interiors are fairly basic. There's not a whole lot of, in terms of gadgets to go through. You've got your basic stuff like your hazards of the heated rear window and your fog lights and such like, and all your normal indicator and wiper controls, but it is relatively basic in here. But it is in really nice shape, isn't it? Really clean.
I think it is, and I think for a Defender it's everything what you'd expect to need. I mean, at the end of the day, we all know Defenders are not far from what the farm vehicles are, to be honest.
Yeah.
But they're the sort of vehicles these that give you any sort of weather, snow or anything, and you'll trundle on straight through a vehicle like this. You really would.
Well, there's a lot of people out there who would say that the Defender is the best four-wheel drive in the world, and you have to admit There's got to be some element of truth in that, hasn't there?
There's got to be. They don't just say it for saying its sake.
It will go anywhere, pretty much.
I really like things like we've got the little benches.
We have in the back there.
All with seat belts and seatbelt points and everything. Nice matting at the bottom for any spills and muddy boots and things.
Down flooring, isn't it?
It is. It's, I won't say it's the rough and ready. It's just everything you need if you want to be. I won't say doing your off-roading, but if you're stuck in any bad weather and things like that, what a vehicle to be in. You know you're not going to be stuck for long in a vehicle like this. It's a really nice place to be in here, actually, and I think I could own one of these myself and be quite satisfied with it.
It is. Looks like the sides of the rear area here look like they've been retrimmed in this black carpeting as well.
Yes, they have, and at the back here they've all been lined, haven't they?
Yeah, it's all been lined in. You can feel it just in the back of the bulkhead here.
And it's even lined in here. It's a massive armrest where this storage bin is massive.
It is. We've got a nice carpeted, massive storage bin down here.
Like brass hinges on the They've gone very upmarket.
It is very good. That's covered in black leather, and Martin will be very pleased to know we've actually got some cup holders.
We've got some nice cup holders, bottle-sized cup holders. These would be great. I think that goes in there.
In there, yeah.
Siggy lighter and that. But yeah, these would be nice, really sturdy cup holders. These.
It is. But it's really well done. The modifications have been really, really well done.
We've even found its air conditioning. It's only two flaps at front that you just open.
This is
that's it.
This is a trait of Defenders, as a lot of people will know, that you've got your two flaps just below the windscreen there that open up to get some of the ventilation in.
Yeah.
A lot of Defenders, as the years went on and they got later and later in the build years, did come with sort of factory air conditioning and even heated seats and things like that. But this one is what you'd call, I suppose it's sort of the commercial version, isn't it? Without the rear windows in the back.
It's just been these added touches, but the roof lining's a bit strange. It's not like a felt material or anything.
I just think it's generally meant to be just very, very hard wearing.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's the idea. This would have been sort of, I suppose, the basic model Defender when it was new. But as I've mentioned, it has a number of modifications, and these seats really are very comfortable indeed.
They are actually. While I'm sat in these, they are pretty sturdy and comfy. They're not massively grabbing around the sides. There's not much to them that way, but for your actual posture and everything, they are pretty good. I mean, let's not forget, we're in a high-up fairly vehicle, aren't we? I mean, it's for chucking it around all over the place, and
this is for sort of driving across fields and stuff. You can't expect it to be kitted out with gadgets, can you? Really, no. I suppose. So that's the interior. Like I say, not a huge amount to talk about because there's not a huge amount in here.
Well, we're not gadget packed, are we? But no. I don't think you'd expect gadget packed. I think more what going on the outside. I think which are some of its, let's say, tasty features, what's been done.
Well, here we are with the outside of the Defender,
Yeah,
Martin.
as promised, we're going to take a look at the outside of this Defender now, and I like it. There's lots of interesting features on this. There is the LED lights, which I think really freshens this vehicle up a lot.
Yeah, he certainly had a facelift, I think
It has, but it's had one for the better. It's been a subtle facelift, but it's just made it a much more acceptable package in this Defender.
It has had a bit of restoration, you can see that. Bit of a paint job, should we say, but for the better, like you say.
I even like this green colour.
Yeah.
I think, I won't say it's very agricultural, but I think it just suits.
I think it's very Land Rover.
Well, it does. It's like a Land Rover colour, isn't it?
Obviously, the front here has been painted, you can see, along with the surrounds for the lights and everything like that. Now, one thing to note, of course, the LEDs down here on the front bumper.
Yes, in the bumper.
They're a recent addition, aren't they?
They are. Again, though, I like them. I think they look great in the dark with them.
It's got a lot of presence, this car. I think it's fair to say.
It had just a simple refresh with this, and it's just made it a much better package, hasn't it?
You wouldn't think it was a 2005 car, would you?
I wouldn't, personally, no. I know we can clock the plate and we know it is, but no, I wouldn't.
That side, yeah.
I think maybe, this is me, but do you think it'll look good with a wheel on the bonnet? Or is that going a bit too American? I know it's got the one on the back, but I just think it looks like it's missing something here.
I think it'll look pretty good. If it did
I think it would, actually. And if I had this vehicle, I'd probably even look into having that done, if possible.
I think you may as well, really. Other thing, of course,
have the vehicle.
Well, if your pockets are deep enough, Martin.
Well, no, not
speaking of wheels, let's check these out. Look at these chunky tyres on there. You're not going to get stuck in them, are you?
No, and this is what I like about the fact of these. At the moment, we've not had bad weather, thank God. But I'd love to be in a vehicle like this if we got a load of snow and that, because you know you're just going to get anywhere. I mean, they're gorgeous wheels. And I also like the alloys that go with them.
I think they're sort of the latest version of alloys that you were able to get on the Defender, I think.
Yeah.
Before they stopped
you
making
could get like a pack.
Yeah.
And I think they've either got bits from this pack and done it themselves, but they've really made it look good, even with the plates to step up and get in.
Like I said, they've even colour coded them, haven't they, to the bodywork? Yeah.
It's a rugged vehicle, but it's a bit.
It's got a bit of style to it.
It has got the style to it. It's not too much blingy. It's just right. I think the black and the green goes together well with this for some strange reason.
And of course, like any other Defender, you've got your little pop-out vents.
Lovely. When you're sat in there in your vent. And
that's your air conditioning, that is, isn't it?
It's your aircon, isn't it? But it's whatever it is outside, you're going to get it.
They certainly look, certainly functional vents as well. They're not just for show.
Maybe me, the fact we've got all these lights like this, I might have liked to see these as like an LED.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Maybe even cleared or something like that, or smoked.
Yeah.
This is me getting a bit into me old Titan cars up on that, but we'll gloss over that. But yeah, maybe. But
that's the front of it. I think we should take a look at the back now, don't you?
Yeah, let's have a wander around the back of it. So of course here we have, well, obviously the spare wheel goes, and it's the same with most Defenders and Land Rovers and such. I would like to have seen one on there.
Yeah.
Just for a bit of difference.
Yeah.
But it's a decent way in the back as well with the door, and it's generous in the back, and it's just typical.
We've had a look in the back, and there is a lot of room in the back there. It also looks like it's got some nice new mud flaps on there that really make you look the part.
Yeah, you need things like that.
On the Land Rover, I think. And of course your LED lights are carried over onto the back here as well.
Yeah.
As you can see. The only one I think that doesn't appear to be is the fog light and the reversing light there. There are certain regulations, of course, the cars have to stick to in terms of that tab.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the back, loads of room. You got your bench seats in the back. You can't see on camera from here, I know, but you got your bench seats in the back. You've got pretty much a hose down floor, haven't you?
What you need is
yeah.
But as what we touched on in the interior, I like the seats, I like the colour and the style as well.
Yeah.
I think if I were wanting to get one of these vehicles, I'd certainly go for this.
Yeah.
At this age, the price of it would just tick all the boxes I'd want to use it for.
Let us know your thoughts. What do you think about the Defender in general and this one
I'm
especially
sure there's
as
going to be
well?
a lot of people out there that have Land Rovers and all sorts in their daily life use and everything. And I'm massive fans of these, but if you're wanting one at a reasonable price, which I know is from a decent place, I'd come and snap this up before I get some money.
It's a unique car. It's a unique car, definitely. Well, that was the Land Rover Defender. Very nice one too, chaps.
It was. I liked it. Strangely enough, it's certainly a vehicle that I'd have myself as well.
Yeah. Did you probably didn't notice, because I actually did some filming underneath, that the springs were orange.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, match the interior then.
Well, yeah, it's sort of a light orange tanned interior, so that, who cares? I won't get stuck anywhere in that anyway. So.
I think when the weather gets harsh around here, which it can do at times, you won't get to, like I say, you won't get stuck in that.
Yeah, wait till spring.
yeah.
But yes, that was the Land Rover. And moving on to now our discussion feature, or Craig's Topics, as it's been affectionately known. Cue the jingle.
Cue the over the top jingles.
Let's take a look at the discussion. Well, that was the jingle. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm saying nothing.
He's got his own jingle.
We've got a bit of a mixed discussion here for you today. We're not concentrating on one topic. We've got a couple actually on the go today. I wasn't sure, to be honest, whether to put this one out, but we're going to go for it.
I think it's worth mentioning.
I think so. I hope you enjoy it. Anyway, as I was looking through the classifiers on a well-known car sales website,
As you do.
it struck me that as you look down the list of cars that you can choose to look at, a lot of the manufacturers don't sell cars here anymore here in the UK. And it got me thinking, why? At first I thought there's going to be might just be a few. The more you look, the more you realise the list is long. And it's quite depressing to think, really. So yes, interesting list, and it's quite long. We'll kick off with Proton. The last time you were able to buy a new Proton in this country was 2012.
Really?
And I hadn't even noticed it disappeared.
I noticed it disappeared, and I fondly remember and used to see a lot about. I think don't quote me on this, but every time I saw one, it was always the silver colour.
Yeah.
And it was the GTI. The Proton GTI. And I thought, that was brilliant. I liked how on the wheel arches it had these like rivets in going. I thought when I first saw one, I didn't know, I thought someone put this on as a kit on the car, and then I realised that was it as standard, and I thought, what a cracking little car from Proton.
I mean, the handling was by Lotus, of course, as well, because they had
exactly.
I think part ownership or something like that. The last cars they were selling were the Savvy city car, which probably less said about that the better.
Was about
the Gen 2 family hatchback was actually quite a nice looking car though.
Do you think it was because you didn't see a massive amount of Protons about, the fact that when they went and you only saw limited cars about anyway, you just didn't you didn't realise they'd gone?
No. There's also, of course, Perodja, I think I'm pronouncing that right, maker of pretty much the cheapest little new car you could buy. They were generally facelifts of old Daihatsus and things like that. And that brings me to the next one, Daihatsu. Can't quite remember when I last saw a new one. I think we're probably going back...
I can't quite remember when I ever saw.
Probably 2010, 2011. I can't remember.
I think I've seen a fairly new one, but not brand spanking new. And I think I would struggle, even if it was still going. Where do you find a dealer?
Well, there was one up in. I think it's still there. Is up in Home Firth, on the main road up into.
I think there used to be.
There used to be a Daihatsu dealer, didn't there?
There did used to be.
I remember a Perodja dealer. There's one in Skegness. If it's still there, I remember that.
And now we found the reason
It was just parked on the street corner with his little car park. I remember that 4 cars. Then he goes, "Do you want to buy it?"
I'm not going to mention the name of the garage, of course, but I do know there was one.
I can't believe there'd be a dealer.
Yeah, there was a Perodja dealer in Skegness.
God.
I think it was actually a combined Proton dealer as well.
Right. Yeah.
Next one we've got Chevrolet.
Well, you see what I remember with that when it was Deo.
Yeah, and then
we lost like we had the Dale Matiz, and suddenly you saw them driving around and they had a Chevrolet. And Dale just sort of disappeared, and that was the new name. And then
I'm just thinking what American would see if they came to the UK and saw that with a Chevrolet badge. Anyway, Chevrolet. The last registration for Chevrolet cars in the UK was 2014. I think this import stopped late 2013. And the only car you could buy from them over here now officially, and it is in extremely small numbers, is the Corvette. We're talking probably, I think they import about less than 10 a year. So the list is long, and the other one I thought, before I forget, was Chrysler. Now Chrysler,
that's what I was going to say,
is a very interesting one because in the UK you could buy a Chrysler, the Voyager excluded. We've cast that aside a second.
The Neon.
They were basic. But the last one that you were able to buy was, of course, I think called the Ypsilon, if I remember correctly.
Which was actually a rebadged Lancia.
Correct. And the Delta, which I think was basically a stretched Fiat Bravo. I think it was.
But again, it was a stretched Fiat Bravo, but it was also a rebadged Lancia.
Yeah, it was indeed. But my point is, all these manufacturers have disappeared, and all these manufacturers had dealers. They had all these people have either obviously lost their jobs, or they've gone. The dealers have turned to the makers, or they've sort of folded. I just think it's a crying shame because there's been a lot of casualties from it.
The Lancia issue with the rust and how the recall.
Of course, very lately this week, and we've had the Honda.
And now Honda are now deciding they're going to basically pull the plug on the UK, basically, aren't they? And not going to be here no more.
Which is sad because they started off in 1985.
Yeah.
With basically what it was a import house. How they basically housed all the imports that were going to Europe and the UK, quality checked them, and then shipped them out. And it's no longer going to be efficient to do that. You see,
at one time Honda was a really big name in the UK, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They reached a really big peak, didn't they? And what my fear is now, I have a fear that I don't think it'll be long before Toyota will do the same.
And then you've got Nissan as well.
And Nissan.
And you've got
Mazda.
Mini.
You've also got Mazda,
Mini.
Toyota.
Vauxhall, technically, because...
Yes. I think you're going to start seeing a trend here. The car companies that might not actually go out of the UK, I think, are certainly going to change.
I think they're going to have
change dramatically
to stay profitable. I mean, Toyota, of course, has the big factory down near Derby, very close actually to where I used to live, and it's a massive, massive plant. It's been there since I think 1992. The first car rolled off the production line there. I just don't think.
But the other thing is as well, and this is another part of it. Lotus is a really good example because Lotus is no longer a British company.
That's the thing.
Come to think of it, Rolls-Royce, the car manufacturers, is no longer a British company. Neither is Bentley.
Well,
neither is Mini. Neither is Vauxhall.
Look at when the new Rolls-Royce came out.
Yeah.
What did they do with it? They made all the parts in Germany, sent them over to the UK just for our workers to put it all together.
Yeah, it's basically our workers became jigsaw
So basically Germany was sending us a jigsaw puzzle.
Kind of the MG situation kind of springs to mind with that, Malcolm. When obviously the MG3s were coming over from China and basically almost like knockdown form.
Well, that's what we did with the TF when they first
yes, indeed, yeah.
Basically what they call knockdown kits. So they basically built it in China, took it apart again after they'd done the quality checks in China, shipped it to the UK, where the UK put it together as a UK spec car, and then sold it.
But here's what about sending things to other countries and that for them to sort of finish off and do, and you think, why couldn't they just done it all there?
Well,
and things like that. But think about when they made the Puma.
The thing is, when
what did Ford do?
Yeah.
What did Ford do with the Puma?
Yes.
The 1.7 engine, they sent it to Yamaha all the way there. They flew them on the plane to send them, so they fiddled with them for about 25 minutes, and they'd send them all the way back to Ford, and then they'd put them in the car, just the engine. And Ford were prepared to do that for a little small coupe.
Yeah, but the thing is, the reason they did knock down these knockdown kits, because they weren't fully assembled cars, they weren't subject to tariffs.
True. They're not complete cars, are they? No, that's the thing.
But yeah, going back to the subject of cars, I mean, I think the marketplace is just too crowded.
I once saw, it is a while back though, and this is a worrying thing, and I once saw this programme where they basically predicted that in the future there would only actually be around 4 car companies, and all the others that you know of will be owned by them. So you'd probably have like your Ford. They did say at the time, I don't know if this would actually pan out right, they said Ford, Vauxhall, possibly either BMW or Audi, or even both of them together, and they mentioned another one, and they said all the other companies you know of, they would own anyway. And I think we're heading that way now.
Look at the Volkswagen Group, because that encompasses Audi, Porsche,
Seat,
yeah. Obviously Volkswagen, Skoda,
even Bugatti.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look at the time when we have Audi owning Lamborghini. If anyone going back years would have said, oh, in the future Audi are going to be owning Lamborghini, you'd say,
but look what he's done for them. Look at the sales.
I think it has changed them where they needed changing at the right time then.
At one point in time you could literally buy a Diablo and that was it. Pretty much, wasn't it? Now you can buy a Huracan, you can buy an Aventador, you can buy a Urus.
That ownership has worked well.
Yeah.
If anyone wanted to look at owning a company as a whole like that, Audi's done leaps and bounds for Lamborghini.
Who would have said years ago that 20 years ago that Maserati have a 4-wheel drive? Yeah. They've got the Levante, haven't they, of course? Yeah. Times have changed and manufacturers have had to change in order to stay profitable, really.
Well, going back again, there was a point when you would have said, if somebody said to you, there will be no major manufacturers in the UK owned by the UK.
Yeah.
And it's within our lifetime.
True. Yeah.
Somebody would have laughed. And now
they found it an apprentice joke.
Yeah, and if you actually look, a lot of the brands that we take for granted now, and a lot of the brands we used to cherish, are now Chinese.
Yeah.
Volvo, for example, is Chinese now.
And it's
Saab, technically, is Chinese.
Yeah.
The majority of investment has come from China. MG is Chinese.
Yeah.
the Black Cab Company, which was our last major manufacturer.
It was just as common as a red letterbox and a London bus, wasn't it, with a black cab, and now they're not even ours.
So that was this episode's discussion, but now I go on to have a look at what many people consider the golden age of rallying. And this had a number of rather special cars in it, which it was a very short-lived season. It only went from 1982 to 1986. So we have a look at what brought it about, why it died, what happened to some of the cars afterwards, and also have a look at some of the manufacturers. Sounds
like a really interesting thing.
Yeah, it sounds like there's more to this than meets the eye, I think.
Let's take a look.
Group B was introduced in 1982 for competition vehicles and sports car racing and rallying. It was regulated by the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, or the FIA. The Group B regulations fostered some of the fastest, most powerful and sophisticated rally cars ever built, and is commonly referred to as the golden era of rallying. The short-lived Group B has acquired legendary status among rally fans and automobile enthusiasts in general. So how did it come about? And why did it stop? The two main classes of rallying were called Group 2 and Group 4. Major manufacturers competed in Group 4, which required a minimum of 400 examples of a competition car to be built. Notable cars of this era included the Lancia Stratos HF, the Ford Escort RS 1800, and the Fiat 131 Abarth. Audi had already stirred things up in 1979 by having the ban on four-wheel drive cars removed, paving the way for their dominance in the rally scene with the Audi Quattro. Other manufacturers initially dismissed four-wheel drive because of the added weight and complexity of the drivetrain. This led to fears that it would cancel out any performance benefits, but the Audi Quattro proved them all wrong, consistently winning stages throughout its time. The FSIA decided to separate the rally cars into three classes. Group N was production cars, Group A was modified production cars, and Group B was modified sports cars. Group B was aimed at promising outright competition victories and the subsequent publicity opportunities without the need for existing production models. There was also a Group C which had similarly lax approach to chassis and engine development, but with very strict rules over weight and maximum fuel load. However, it was Group B that became the thing to watch, with all the thrills and spills of cutthroat competition at the bleeding edge of motoring technology. Group B cars could be two-seaters and the minimum production was 200 cars. Manufacturers were allowed to have an evolution of each car by producing 20 cars of that particular evolution. Because the requirement was only 200 cars to be produced, cars like the Ferrari 308 and the Porsche 911 could actually be entered in for Group B rallying. Big manufacturers, though, used these rules in an entirely different way, designing rally cars of which 20 could be produced and designated the Evolution model, and then build a limited series of 200 street cars so they would actually qualify for Group B standards. Within each group, there were subclasses based on engine displacement. Each class had different weight limits, maximum tyre sizes and engine sizes, among other things. The most important classes for Group B were the 3000cc class, which had engines around 2142cc with turbo or supercharger, a 960 kilogram maximum weight. This included the Audi Quattro and Lancia 037, and the 2500cc class with an 890 kilogram limit, which had the Peugeot 205 T16 and the Lancia Delta S4. While these rules came out for the 1982 rally season, it was from 1983 that things started to get bigger. Although the Audi Quattro was still in essence a Group 4 car, it carried Hannu Mikkola to the driver's title in 1983. Lancia designed a new car for Group B specifications, but the Lancia 037 still had rear-wheel drive and was thus less consistent than the Audi over different surfaces. Generally though, the Lancia had the upper hand on tarmac, with the Audi remaining superior on looser surfaces such as snow and gravel. Nevertheless, the 037 performed well enough for Lancia to capture the manufacturer's title with a rally to spare. In fact, so low was Lancia's regard for the Drivers' Championship, they did not enter a single car into the season finale, despite the fact that one of their drivers was still in the hunt for the title. The low manufacturing requirements quickly attracted manufacturers to Group B. Opel replaced their production-derived Ascona with the Group B Manta 400, and Toyota built a new car based on their Sleeker. Like the Lancia 037, both cars were rear-wheel drive, but quite successful in national rallying in various countries. Less so, though, at the World Championship level, although Toyota did win the 1983 Ivory Coast Rally after hiring Swedish desert driver and specialist the late Björn Wallgard. But in 1984, it was Audi's Stig Blomqvist who beat Lancia to the driver's title, although the victory was bittersweet. Midway through the year, Peugeot had joined the rallying scene with its Group B 205's T16. The T16 also had four-wheel drive and was smaller and lighter than the Audi Quattro. At the wheel was 1981 Drivers' Championship Ari Vatanen. A crash, though, prevented the T16 from winning the first rally, but the writing was definitely on the wall for Audi. Despite massive revisions to the Quattro, including a shorter wheelbase, Peugeot dominated the 1985 season, although not without mishap. Vatanen plunged off the road in Argentina and was gravely injured when his seat mountings broke. Although Vatanen had a constant record of crashing out when he was in the lead in a rally, the crash itself in 1985 was a sign that Group B cars had become dangerously quick. Several new Group B cars entered the rallying world in 1985. Lancia replaced their outclassed 037 with the Delta S4, which featured both a turbocharger and a supercharger. Ford returned after several years away with the RS200 and the Ford Sierra RS Cosworth. Citroën developed and entered the BX4TC, which ultimately was too heavy and cumbersome to be successful, and Rover entered the fray with the Metro 6R4, which featured a more boxy styling to the bodywork and also a V6 rear-mounted engine with four-wheel drive. This was to make 1986 the defining year. 1986 was set to be a very exciting season. Defending champion Timo Salonen had set the new Evolution version 2 of Peugeot's 205 T16 with ex-Toyota driver Juha Kankkunen. Audi's new Sport Quattro S1 boasted over 600 horsepower and a huge snowplow-like front end. Lancia's Delta S4 would be in the hands of Finnish prodigy Henri Toivonen, and Ford was ready with its high-end RS200 with Stig Blomqvist at the wheel. But at the Laguna Azul stage of the Portuguese rally near Sintra, everything went tragically wrong. Portuguese national champion Joaquim Santos crested a rise, turning to his right to avoid a small group of spectators. This caused him to lose control of his RS200. The car veered right and slid off the road into more spectators. 31 people were injured and 3 were killed. All the top teams immediately pulled out of the rally and Group B was placed in jeopardy. Disaster struck again in early May at the Tour de Corse. Lancia's Toivonen was a championship favourite, and once the rally got underway, he was the pace setter. 7 kilometres into the 18th stage, Toivonen's S4 flew off the unguarded edge of a tightening left-hand bend and plunged down a steep wooded hillside. The car landed on its roof. The fuel tank was ruptured by the impact. The combination of red-hot turbocharger, Kevlar bodywork and ruptured fuel tank ignited the car and set fire to the dry undergrowth. Only a cloud of smoke and the lack of a car at the finish line indicated something was very, very wrong. By the time the rescue workers made it to the remote spot some 30 minutes later, all that remained of the car was a blackened frame. Toivonen and co-driver died in their seats. With no witnesses to the accident, it was impossible to determine what the cause of the crash was, other than Toivonen had left the road at high speed.
Sabi now led, but there was little enthusiasm for rallying, and the Peugeot cruised through the remaining stages. Sabi and co-driver Jean-François Fauchil drove the Peugeot onto the podium, but they stayed inside the car, and there would be no celebrations after one of the darkest events in the history of the World Rally Championship.
This crash also came a year after Lancia driver Attilio Begata had crashed and died in his 037. While that fatality was largely blamed on the unforgiving Corsican scenery, his co-driver was uninjured. Toivonen and Cresto's death, combined with the Portugal tragedy and the televised incident of F1 driver Mark Sura in another RS200, careering off the road and killing his co-driver, compelled the FIA to act. Group B cars were immediately banned from 1987. Audi decided to quit Group B entirely after Corsica. The final days of Group B would be controversial. Peugeots were disqualified from San Remo Rally by the Italian scrutineers, as the skirts around the bottom of the car were deemed to be illegal. Peugeot immediately accused the Italians of favouring the Lancias. Their case was strengthened next event at the RAC Rally, and the British scrutineers passed the Peugeots as legal in identical trim. France-based FISA annulled the result of the San Remo Rally 11 days after the final round in America. As a result, the championship title was passed from Lancia's Mako Allen to Peugeot's Juho Kankkunen. Although 1987 saw the end of Group B cars on the world stage, they didn't disappear from motorsport. Peugeot adapted their T16 to run in the Dakar Rally, and Ari Vatanen won the event in 1987, 1989 and 1990. Improved Peugeot and Audi cars were also competed in the Pikes Peak hill climb in Colorado. Walter Rolls' S1 rally car won the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb in 1987 and set a new record at the time. Audi used their Group B experience to develop a production-based racing car for the Trans Am and IMSA GTO series in 1988 and 1989 respectively. Ford sold off their RS200s to private buyers, many being used in European rallycross events from the beginning of 1987 until the end of 1992. The Metro 6R4 became a frequent sight in rallycross, and the car also entered the British and Irish National Championship events. Porsche's 959 never entered a World Rally event, although it did compete in the Middle East Championship and won the Paris-Dakar Rally. The 961 prototype won the GTX class at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1986, and the Ferrari 288 GTO was built and sold to the minimum requirements of cars for the public. However, it never saw action in its category. With that, the last of the Group B cars left the international stage, retiring to private ownership in many cases. The Ford RS200, the MG Metro 6R4, Lancia Stratos and Audi Quattro all became legends and are sought after cars today. Even with the disasters that plagued Group B in its last few years, no other racing group created such excitement, such unpredictable results, and rapid motoring development. It really was the golden age of racing.
That was the golden age of rallying. So with Group B, you had quite an interesting set of cars. The Audi Quattro came out. I mean, the MG Metro 6R4 came out of it.
Mm-hmm. Certainly one that springs to mind for me. Yeah.
There was the Peugeot 205 T16, which was quite a mad little car.
I've actually seen one in the flesh quite a few years ago. It was actually in 2005. At the Prescott Hill Climb. It was the Peugeot Sport Owners Club day that the Apple used to have. I'm not sure if they still do. And I saw one in the flesh. It was a grey one. Very interesting car. Very wide.
Oh, I like cars like that.
It was interesting to see one in the flesh. It was the first time I've seen one.
They were pretty special cars. But the thing was that Lancia, with the Stratos, the Delta, even Porsche had a Group B car ready, but it never got to race. A lot of them were used afterwards in things like the hill climbs, the California hill climbs, for example. But yeah, that was basically their the swan song to Group B rallying. So that's pretty much it for episode 15.
It is. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, it always is a mixed bag for us, isn't it? What we seem to get.
That's the idea of what we try and do, isn't it? We try and get a bit of variety.
I will say on the Focus side of the filming, no golf balls were harmed in filming that, but some golfers very nearly was harmed. We might have to explain one day. But
the thing that gets me is you actually moved your car under the tree to be safer, and it attracted more golf balls there.
I ended up moving my car, which I thought out of the way, put it in line with a load of trees, thinking no golf ball will get through there. And one did. It didn't hit my car, but it whistled right over the road, and I saw it rolling back towards me. And I thought, where shall I park my car away from this golf range? Oh, I know, Birmingham. It was a horrendous day, and it was freezing cold, but it was a lovely car to film at the end of the day. It made it all worthwhile.
Yeah, well, it was certainly interesting. Yeah.
So that's it for 15.
So I think on that bit of a sporty theme of episode 15, that is a wrap.
We seem to be rattling these off quite.
Yeah, we did. We got it done in a hole in one as well, basically, didn't we? No more golfing jokes. I don't like golf. I don't like it in any shape or form, and I wouldn't want to wear them loud.
What about crazy golf?
I thought they were playing crazy golf. No, so on that note, we plod on to episode 16, don't we?
We do, and we've got some very nice stuff planned for episode 16.
Can I just say as a teaser, we have got one thing we've already sorted, haven't we?
Yeah.
It is already filmed.
And it appealed to me in many ways, and surprised me in a few ways, as I do have some gripes about this one, but I've warmed to it, let's say, after filming it, and that's as much as I'll say.
The other thing I'll mention, of course, is again for you off-road enthusiasts out there, we have something nice for you.
Yes, we do.
And quite a surprise, really, as well.
Well, this is maybe more of a surprise for these chaps than it is for me. That might give you a clue. But
well, we know about it, but we haven't seen it.
But you should be pleasantly surprised. And that is pretty much it for episode 15. I do hope you've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed filming it as usual.
Yep.
Back to the golfers.
Less said about the golf balls the better, I think it's fair to say. It's been a complete mixed bag as usual, and as we'll carry on that theme with episode 16. But for us, that's it.
It is. We will crack on with 16 and we will see you then.
See you next time.
Bye.
Right then, well.
I like speeches so much, you don't all do it.
Bloopers.
It's not one for outtakes.
Got that really, but I was coming in.